This is Bob Mideke with My Side America, also BizTalkTX. This is an interview with Chris Shuler I did at Boerne Stage Kustoms last year, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Hi Chris, I'm Bob Mideke with My Side America, and you're one of my customers, Chris Shuler. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got started and what you do?
Sure. I mean, we started off in 2001 with this business, and we started it not so much as a hot rod and custom business, but more as a paint and body business. That's kind of our background, is people kind of seek us out to do paint and body work. But we started it and painted one car and worked on a 59 El Camino for a customer and turned it out, and then did a pickup 50 Chevy truck and turned it out, and pretty soon the rod and custom business was, I was more busy with that stuff than I was with regular collision work, and we moved out to Centerpoint in '08, and when I moved out here, we pretty much just have focused mainly on the paint and body work of the old cars and building complete cars from people from the ground up.
Right. How did you get an interest in cars?
I've always liked tinkering with things mechanically. My dad was always, fixing something around the house, or, lawnmower or tiller or something like that. And then when we became, I guess 10, 12 years old, we got some dirt bikes, and we were constantly, having to fix those things and break those things. As we were kids, they were always breaking. And so I've always enjoyed working with my hands and doing something mechanically, and just being outside, and instead of stuck in an office or on a chair or something like that. So my mom, whenever I was coming up, 12, 13, 14 years old, my dad had always, had old cars and stuff as we were, when we were younger, and him and I were going to put an old truck together for me to drive to high school when I was 16, but my mom had an accident in the truck that my dad had, and so my mom and dad didn't have a lot of money to buy me another car, so they let me fix that. They let me fix that truck up and drive it to high school, and that's kind of what got me kind of started in cars. I kind of enjoyed fixing that thing and kind of bringing it back from something that would be scrapped normally, or just sold or something like that as a wreck. I kind of brought it back, and I enjoyed that portion of it, and I always thought paint and body work would be a good fit, because people that are bringing their cars into a paint and body shop actually care about what they look like, and so I always kind of was into having something nice, and kind of picked this instead of General Mechanics. I didn't want to just keep the Geo Metro running. I wanted to do something right. Nice. So I kind of chose the paint and body path, and so that's kind of how I got to going.
What was that truck, first truck?
That was an 85 Chevy, a square body Chevrolet truck that my dad bought new in '85, and had it when we were kids, and then my mom got in an accident and rolled it over, and it became my truck, and I drove it to high school. It was my first truck, and customized it and stuff like that. And then whenever I got into drag boats and got married and stuff like that, some of that stuff had to go, and that was one of the things that was on the selling block.
Tell me about your Falcon.
The Falcon Wagon. I was working one day, and a guy came up to my shop, and I had always liked two-door station wagons, the Nomads, the Safari wagons, stuff like that were always really cool to me. I always liked station wagons, and of course I never were able to find or afford a full body Chevrolet Nomad or something like that. They're very expensive, and so a guy came by my shop, and he said, "Hey, I've got an old Falcon two-door station wagon," and kind of piqued my interest. And he told me it was a '65 model, and so I gave him some time. I went down to his place, and I wasn't really too intrigued about it being a '65, because it's a little bit different body style than what I liked. And so I went down there, and it turned out to be an early model Falcon. It turned out to be a '61, and round body, and kind of a more custom Falcon instead of the more muscle car-y Falcon. And two-door, and man, we made a deal on it. And I was always a Chevrolet guy coming up. I always enjoyed Chevrolets. I always knew Chevrolets. That's kind of what my dad taught me to work on, and what I've just my comfort zone, And so when I got that old Falcon, it kind of busted me out of my comfort zone, and the motor was locked up and stuff like that. And I kind of I didn't pay a whole lot for it, but I wanted to drive it, and so
Right.
I unfroze the motor and I, did some, I cut the coil springs, kind of lowered it down, made it look kind of cool, and
Right.
started driving that thing around, and that car kind of found me, it was is one of those deals. It's you can't really write that. I mean, the car just kind of found me, and it's been through several stages, with the business. You don't have time just to focus on just your personal car. So, I did a little body work and primed it and drove it like that. It was kind of an evolving project,
That's how we met. It's
Exactly.
like you were working on your car on a Saturday, and
Okay.
you came in and I asked you about it and asked you if you had a website, and you showed me what you had, and you were happy with it.
Sure.
That's how we started.
Yeah, it's a good, it's kind of the calling card for the business. Everybody knows us by that, because when we did paint it, that Saturday that you guys came by, I was probably in the middle of, painting it and trying to prep it to get it painted. And Trent, one of my guys, is a very good artist and just like a brother to me. And when we went to paint it, he's like, Chris, we really need to do something, wild on this thing and really, really showcase what we can do, And so I kind of, we kind of collaborated, and I kind of turned the reins loose a little bit, and we paneled that thing out and did it, paneling, and some of the 60s and 70s vibe stuff was kind of coming back, and so we kind of we just saw it in our heads all flamed, and kind of last minute we decided to put the panels on it and kind of do a 60s 70s crossover type of custom, like they would have done out in California.
Well, the paintwork he does is just amazing.
Yeah,
it's
Trent's
really awesome what you've done with that car.
Yeah,
I've seen you've done it.
Trent's an amazing artist. I mean, I'm so blessed to have him, as well as Randy. Randy played a big portion in that car too. Randy, I mean, he's, salt of the earth type of guy. I mean, slow and steady, but when he gets done with something, it's phenomenal and it's nice, and just a bought in. Both these guys are just bought in and just great guys, great craftsmen. I mean, way better than myself. I couldn't do half of what these guys do, and I respect them, and they hold this. They're the glue that holds this thing together. Their workmanship and their quality of attention to detail is what separates us from some of the other shops around. And people.
We even had Vernon McKean doing the interior work on that. That's amazing work. Can you tell me a little bit about him?
We did. Vernon is an amazing person, as well as an amazing interior craftsman. I mean, Vernon's been around it for a long time. He's what, 90? Vernon's 92, something like that, 93 years old. I'm not real sure. I met Vernon probably, probably 15 years ago, and I had always heard about Vernon, and he's kind of a legend. It's kind of like getting George Barris or Gene Winfield or Bill Hines or one of those guys involved in a build with you. He's kind of one of those iconic guys, especially in the Texas scene. I've always heard about him. I've seen his work. One of my customers has had Vernon doing upholstery work for him since the 60s.
Wow.
And so Mike came by and said, "Hey, we're going to go to Vernon's shop up in Austin. Would you, Trent, like to tag along?" And I said, "Absolutely," And so Trent and I took a day off, and this was at the old shop, and Trent and I went up there and met him, and he really didn't really talk to us much. He kind of talked to Mike, and he had a relationship with those guys, and we were kind of just the young guys that kind of tagged along, but Trent and I are both very respectful about people's skills and their I mean, it's just amazing the lifelong talent that people amass as they go through life, and how much better they get and things like that. And I've always been very respectful of people, and so and I think he could tell that, and so we made that trip, and we spent time with him, and he got to know us a little bit, and then he would make occasional trips, once every 3 months or so, to come down and see Mike, who lived in Helotes, and he would always stop by our shop and see me and Trent. And so he would see our projects going on, and he started, asking about different projects. And Vernon's the type of guy where, he picks and chooses what he does. I mean, at 92, 93 years old, and being the kind of person that he is and the kind of craftsman that he is, he can do that. he's earned that right, and he does upholstery work for the love of it. He doesn't necessarily have to make a living doing upholstery work. He's got some other things going, but he does upholstery work for the love of it. And you know, he started asking me about specific cars that we were building. I was in the middle of building a 32 for my father, and then you know, he asked me about that car. Hey, you know, who's going to upholster that car? He started talking to me about it, and I said, well, I'd love for you to upholster it. I just really don't know if I can afford you, you know. And so anyway, so you know, it wasn't. You know, it took me several years to get to that project, but anyway, we moved to Center Point out here, and we continued to maintain a relationship with Vernon, and he would come by here and he would look. One day he came by here and I was doing my Falcon Wagon, and I said, you know, Vernon, I said this car, you know, has never had a headliner in it. I said, and I really want the headliner, you know, to be right. It's a station wagon. It's long. I don't want it all sagging. And he said, you know, Chris, I'll do that. I'll do that headliner if you want. And I said, you know, I said, I've seen you do padded dashes too. I said, I'd really love a padded dash in this car, you know. And so he said, I'll do the dash and the headliner in that car whenever you're ready. And so one thing led to another, and then I was working on the car, and one day he, you know, a few months later, he came back and he said, hey, he said, you got that Falcon ready for me to do some work on yet? And I said, I'm real close. I said, I'm real close, you know. And he sat down with me and he started telling me things, and I mean, the ideas just come to him like, I mean, just like wildfire. And you know, he's going and telling me about how he would do the door panels, and I said, whoa, I said, you know, I don't know if I've got the money, you know, to have you go all crazy on this car, and you know, and he said, well, if I'm getting over, you know, carried away, you tell me to stop. And I said, well, I think you probably need to stop, because I said, I don't have the money for that. So we decided just to do the dash and the headliner, and I took it up there to his shop in Primer whenever I was ready to do that stuff, and he started building the dash and the headliner, and started again talking to me about doing the whole interior. And I said, well, I said, you know, yeah, if you want to do some door panels. And then one thing led to another, and pretty soon, you know, I came back and I said, you know, I'm just going to bite the bullet, and I'm going to have Vernon do this whole interior. If he wants to do the car, I need to have him do it. You know, it was he knew it was going to be a special car. He knew it was going to be, you know, something that he could be proud of, and something that I would give him full reign on. And so I did. Trent and I, you know, we went up there and spent a lot of time with Vernon as he was doing it. You know, he would need help and stuff like that, doing things. And you know, it was kind of a collaborated effort between Vernon and David, Vernon's son-in-law, and Trent and I. And we spent a lot of time together, and our relationship really grew. And, you know, Trent and I spent the night at his house on Christmas Eve, and you know, worked on the 23rd, and then spent the night Christmas Eve and drove back. And so we got real close, you know, all of us got pretty close, and got to know each other really well. And Vernon's just a good guy. And so, yeah, he did that car for me. And
you won some award with
we did. We debuted it at the Showcase of Customs show in Long Beach, and that car took Best Station Wagon out in California at that show. And there were probably a good 8 to 10 station wagons out there that were phenomenal cars, and that little car did really well. You know, the Australian crowd, there was a lot of Australians there. They really loved that car and really took a liking to it, and the guys out there were very receptive to it. And you know, we met a lot of good friends, and kind of you know, put us on the map a little bit, I would say. You know, kind of people started respecting our paintwork even more, and you know, seeing that we had a relationship with Vernon. And Vernon's done some phenomenal cars over the years for Gary Howard and Jimmy Vaughn, and you know, he's got a Mercury Charlie. He's got a lot of cars. You know, he's got a lot of feathers in his cap. You know, and so
these are mostly people in Texas that you did.
They are Jimmy Vaughn. You know, he's Stevie Ray Vaughan's brother. You know,
okay.
So he's in a band and all that stuff. Vernon's done a lot of cars for him. Gary Howard is just an incredible craftsman. I mean, he's probably, to me, I look up to him. He's a, you know, just an incredible person, and you know, I don't know him so much on a personal level, but I know, you know, his taste and his style and the way he conducts himself, and you know, he's all about the cars and all about the art, you know, and that's very respectable. And Vernon's done a lot of his cars, you know, lots of Gary's cars, and Mercury Charlie, you know, the little purple Mercury Nadine, he's done that, and that car's incredible. All those cars have graced the pages of some of the best magazines and press in the nation. And so he's, you know, he's phenomenal, and he you know, he made that car what it is. I mean, we painted it and everything like that, but without Vernon's touch and without Trent's touch, those two guys, that car wouldn't be wouldn't be nearly as great as it is. So it's
well, I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time with you today. I'm afraid we might, tie into your work. But maybe we can do another interview someday.
Yeah, sure.
I enjoyed it. It's great. I really haven't had a chance to talk to you. You're always busy.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
We're always super swamped.
And I want you to know that I'm pleased to do your website, and I'm glad to do this interview.
Sure.
with you.
That works,
Thank
Bob.
you, Chris.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.